Another good day to all my followers right throughout the nation. Today, the Tuesday, 29th of October, I like to bring your attention to the chambers of the Chief Justice of Papua New Guinea. And the Judiciary is normally referred to as our last bastion of hope to uphold the democratic principles of governance, of good governance. And the last 50 years, we've had our fair share of the good and the bad. And the test case and the test of the judiciary's impartiality, its independence, and the powers therein, the inherent powers of the judiciary were tested when Honorable Belden Namah had stormed the courthouse in 2011 with armed soldiers as he attempted to arrest the former Chief Justice, Justice Solomon Injia. And that was when the powers of the Constitution was tested and the powers of the judiciary was tested as well. In that they were not able to maintain the Constitution as a supreme law. The judiciary did not invoke its powers to deal with a politician who had stormed the courthouse with armed soldiers. And it still goes down in the history books, the annals of history. And students of law will take this matter up and review it again and again to see what actually transpired in the courthouse. Now, to many observers outside and to us within, we all remain silent in fear of repercussions of a possible takeover by the military and in collaboration with the government of the day, like what happens in Africa and Fiji and everywhere else. But to our surprise, that didn't happen. And for the better or for the worse, the particular politician involved, Belden Namah, had escaped the clutches of the law, in that he was never tried in any court of law for the actions he had taken in undermining the authority of the Constitution of Papua New Guinea. And it remains a mystery to this very day. Now, last week, we witnessed for the first time that the head of the judiciary, the Chief Justice, Giv Salika, had unleashed his fury on the state of the law and order in Papua New Guinea. And he was quickly covered. He was given front page by the major newspapers on his views and opinion about the lawlessness of this country. And to me, it was very tragic to get that from the man who is in charge of the judiciary, because it is all within his ambit to fix the problems relating to law and order in this country. He is the chief administrator of our legal system in his capacity as Chief Justice. So, what was his message in trying to paint a bad picture on the country situation? As he's the man in charge of the administration of law and order, and this prompted me to take a very closer look at the Chief Justice and his conduct. And it so happens that within the same week, there was a case in relation to an election dispute over the Medang provincial seat, in which Mr. Peter Yama had challenged the result of the case with the incumbent governor, Samuel Pariwa. And in that proceeding, Mr. Pariwa's lawyer went to the unacceptable or unallowable practice of questioning the impartiality or the qualification of the Chief Justice, and he had presented some hearsay evidence from one of the Chief Justice's former close protection officer, or bodyguard, as you would like to call them, security officers from the police department, making an allegation that the Chief Justice and his family had an affiliation with Mr. Yama, and that the involvement of the Chief Justice in making a ruling on the case would be biased and unfair. And of course that is natural. And I think the client and the lawyer, I'm not saying they've done the right thing, but if they did raise an objection to any judge, including the Chief Justice, it was a very natural thing for the judge concerned to step down and disqualify himself from the proceeding, and that was as simple as that. But that didn't go down well with the Chief Justice, and he had issued a statement saying that he would consult his. So now it brings us to the question about the integrity in the office of the Chief Justice. Why would the Chief Justice go to the extreme of trying to defend himself against a mere allegation that he had a close affiliation with the politician affected? All he had to do was accept the fact and move on. He's not the only judge in this case. But he had reacted. And his very reaction that he was going to take legal action against the lawyer for Mr. Pariwa, gives us an indication that he lacks the integrity. And that is a very serious concern. Now I'm raising this issue because I'm not new to the courthouse. My name, John Endemongo Kua, is synonymous with the courthouse. Since I filed a summons on the 19th of November 2008 on a matter involving the Kone Tigers Rugby League Football Club and the people that have fraudulently sold the property. In this matter, if I remember, since we laid a criminal complaint in 2008 to the police and took out a civil action under the reference OS number 710 of 2008, which was registered on the 19th of November 2008, up until this very day, we have not got a clear-cut decision on this matter. And from 2008 till now, 2024, that is almost like 16 donkey years. And at the center of this controversy is the same Chief Justice we're talking about. When this criminal matter was filed, Stanley Haru was arrested and charged, and the criminal proceeding took us from 2008 to 2013. And in 2013, on the 2nd of October, or thereabouts, I had posted, and luckily internet came about, there was Facebook, and I had posted on Facebook that if this matter is not heard promptly, I will summon the Chief Justice to get an explanation or for him to show cause as to why this criminal matter cannot be heard by the National Court. Surprisingly, without my notice, and there was no need because I had gone in for the matter, and we had set early in May, and we were cross-examined. I was questioned as a witness, as the public officer of the Coney Tigers Rugby League Football Club and president of the club at that time, and I am still until now. I had testified before a court that there was fraud, and I had reported the fraud to the police, and I was the main complainant. However, I was not informed, and there was no need for me to be informed. But the matter was heard the next day, and the Chief Justice now, who was then Deputy Chief Justice, had made the decision that there was fraud involved, and that Stanley Haru, the guy who sold the property, had no authorization whatsoever to sell the property. But in his decision, for some unknown reason, he had decided to dismiss me as a busybody and a non-financial member with no standing in the football club and the association. Now, I was a naive guy, take it from a Chief Justice, and I questioned him on his insanity or stupidity in not consulting the law. I could not be called in as a witness, and I could not report the crime to the police, and I could not sign on the bank account if I did not have locus standi on the matter. Now, locus standi is the terminology that lawyers use to determine whether you have standing or you have the right to come before a court of law or to represent yourself or represent anyone in this matter. And in this case, I was the public officer. I am still the public officer of Coney Tigers Rugby League Football Club, and I had total standing. But in the decision of the judge, who is currently the Chief Justice, he had written me off. And he had established that there was fraud in this matter. And if there was fraud in this matter, and I was the chief witness and I was the chief complainant, then he was supposed to acknowledge me and thank me for what I did. But he did not. He decided to become tribalistic. For once, he forgot that he was the Deputy Chief Justice, an administrator of the law. And he became tribalistic by dismissing me and heaping praises on the criminal or the accused, that he was a man of good standing. Now, much later, when the sentence came in February, I had written to him and I was asked by the judicial services to put in my opinion about the case, and I said, it's outright fraud. But I do not agree with the Chief Justice for having dismissed me as a member of the Coney Tigers Club, because he had no evidence to prove that I wasn't a member of the Coney Tigers Club. And otherwise I would not have the locus standi to appear before the court. Now this was, to me, it was the most insane and stupid thing that a judge could do, to dismiss the complainant. Because if he was going to dismiss my complainant, there should be no case. But there was a case which established that yes, the accused had committed an act of fraud in selling a property that he did not have any rights to, and that he was not given the proper approval to sell the property. Now, I'm trying to bring the Chief Justice to see the double standards he set in the courthouse. In the February ending down of the sentencing of Stanley Aru, he repeated exactly what he said by dismissing me as a busybody. Now, I would have taken him to court for defamation, and I wanted to take him to court for defamation, except that there was not one lawyer in town who could take my case up, as they were scared that their bread and butter came from the courthouse. But this is the kind of person that is now the Chief Justice. He was Deputy Chief Justice then. And to this very day, I want the Chief Justice to take note of this. Always JR, number 108 of 2023, is still on foot, and I am the first plaintiff, and Coney Tigers Rugby Football Club is the second plaintiff. Stanley Aru is the first defendant. Glory Holdings Limited, formerly known as Belden Limited, the Deputy Chief Justice and the current Chief Justice can remember. Waigani City Development is a third defendant, and the registrar of title is the fourth defendant. Benjamin Sampson, as Secretary for Lands and Physical Planning, is the fifth defendant, and John Rosso, as Minister for Lands and Physical Planning, is the sixth defendant, and the Independent State of Papua New Guinea is the seventh defendant. This is 16 years down the line since 2008. And I am still going to court. I'm still going to court. Now, there was fraud established. And according to the Land Act of Papua New Guinea, under Section 33, when fraud is established in a court of law by anybody who's got title to it, that title is null and void. That is automatic by the operation of the rule of law. But since the decision of the Deputy Chief Justice till now, the title has never been given back to the Coney Tigers Rugby League Football Club, and we are still in court. We've gone through several summonses. Since we filed OS number 710 of 2008, which was thrown out of the courthouse. Mr. Chief Justice, you got to watch this. This has been thrown out of the courthouse, and much later, when we applied to see the results of the court case, that did not come out to us, the Deputy Registrar of the court wrote to us saying that this file has now been closed. And since then, we have taken different actions that have been knocked back by the courthouse, up until the last case when we went before Deputy Chief Justice Kandakasi. And what Kandakasi did was he made a preliminary order saying that we should settle administratively. 1 week later, and this is in 2021, 1 week later, he comes to, we go before the court as he had, as it was in his diary, and he says, the case is not in my diary, and I don't remember my orders. Now you'll have to, and the form used was not appropriate, and that you have to go back to the registry. And this is where we are. It's taken us 16 years to get justice. Now, the Deputy Chief Justice overturned his own ruling, so to speak. Now, what I want to know from the Chief Justice is the double standards you are setting in the courthouse. I sometimes wonder whether this court is a court of law or if it is not, because we've got double standards everywhere. In the case of the Coney Tigers Rugby League Football Club, there was criminality established. The court had found Stanley Aru guilty of committing a crime, and Stanley Aru was sentenced to prison for 8 years with hard labor on the condition that he restituted the money he had obtained under false pretense from Belden Limited. And that was the order of the court. To this day, Mr. Chief Justice, I want to tell you that your court has double standards. Nothing is ever functional in the courthouse. You may claim that we are delivering justice, but there is no justice. And it's very interesting that you came about to make a comment about the worsening law and order situation in this country, because you are partly to be blamed. Now, one lawyer had questioned your integrity and your impartiality in court, because your wife was had a relationship with the Mr. Yama. It's only a mere allegation. It's hearsay, and we don't see any. We don't. There is no proof to that. But the questioning of your integrity and your impartiality as a judge is what's bothering us. And I'm reciting my case because I don't think that we were given any justice in the court of law. After 16 years, 6 years after you have found Mr. Stanley Aru guilty of committing fraud, Benjamin Sampson from the Lands Department and the Register Title, and John Russell, the Deputy Prime Minister and Lands Minister, is also implicated in a lot of fraudulent land deals. Now, they have not even restored title. We have written a letter under the criminal code applying section 623A, which says that if fraud is established in any title, it must be returned. So, Chief Justice, if you are watching me and if you get to watch this, you need to clean your own backyard. You need to clean your own backyard. And if you can clean up your own backyard, you need to ship out as well. Because people in this country are crying for justice. The breakdown in law and order is because the administration of justice is not working as well as it should. And this is why I am bringing to the public's attention to look at some of the conduct of the court, especially to do with yourself and the judges in the courthouse, whether you've been delivering justice or not. Now, while we are there, I'd like to remind the Chief Justice and the members of the Judiciary that the People's Anti-Corruption Movement has filed a very important case on the 19th of January. And it's the first of its kind. We have filed it out of necessity because the entire law and order system in this country has failed, including the judiciary. I must say that. Because there has been zero accountability of public accounts for the last 10 years under the care of the current Prime Minister and Minister for Finance for 7 long years with the O'Neill regime. There has been no report of public finances to Parliament for the public to view. So we are talking in the billions, including maybe accounts from the Department of Justice that have not been audited. So there is a huge mess that needs to be cleared. Now, if the Chief Justice is watching me, and I have to forward a letter to you, if you're going to do some good for this country, you better appoint a judge and get them to attend to our case, to get the government to account for public accounts. Otherwise, it's an entire lawless system. And your huffing and puffing over the media doesn't help the system. You have the authority. You have the authority to administer the law as it should be in accordance with the Constitution. And if you have not been doing your job properly, it's about time you vacated the seat. Because people are now starting to question your integrity, including myself, in the manner in which the judiciary is operating. And we have the right as citizens and as taxpayers to question your performance, because this is a constitutional office. It's not a private office. It's not your private office, Chief Justice. So we share your concern, but you better be serious in ensuring that the rule of law is sustained. And in that, you got to clean out the court system. There's so much fake going on. In fact, as I said earlier, my name is synonymous with the courthouse, because on the Secretary for Lands complaint for cybercrime, I've been arrested and thrown in jail for calling him a fraudster, and I'm on bail of 500 kina. I went to court repeatedly for 2 years. I couldn't even be allowed to travel out of Port Moresby, only on the permission of the courts. And when I was committed to the committal court, there was no call for me to attend court. They've thrown my file away, and they printed a warrant for arrest for me. I fronted up in court. I said, if you got a warrant for arrest for my arrest, I want to look at the file. There's no file. Now, what I'm trying to tell you is that the courthouse and the court administration is not functioning, Mr. Chief Justice. And if you can't fix the courthouse, you might as well keep quiet. And with that, I'll let you have a nice day. And I remind my followers, if you have any issues of importance that need to be discussed, if you want to expose corruption, you can call me anytime on my numbers. They're everywhere on Facebook, on WhatsApp, because it is our job to make sure that the rule of law prevails so that we can safeguard our lives, our well-being, our joy, our happiness, and that of our posterity. If public officials are not doing their job, I must tell you that they don't have an absolute right to do what as they please, because they all control, we all operate under the law, and we got to expose them. And here I've just made my point. I have just accused the Chief Justice of fiddling around with the law and not doing his job properly. And if he was cited, or if people are whispering that his family has an affiliation with certain politicians concerned, he should not react to it. And he should respect the wishes of the people, and he should also step aside or step down from the job. It's as simple as that. Thanks for watching me today. I'll let you go, and we'll see you again tomorrow if anything of interest is coming. As all our followers in the National Capital District, I think we are making a visit to Tete Settlement this afternoon to talk to the settlers there in relation to the upcoming health project, or the hospital project, which is going to cost about 800 million. And we suspect that there's embezzlement of public finances, like I said yesterday. A total of 20 million from the National Capital District Commission, and a further 30 million kina from the National Planning Department has been given towards the building of the hospital. And we will question the procurement process involved, because we think that this one Indian bandit who's engaged in land racketeering is finding a way out to siphon public monies without involving the proper authorities, such as the Department of Health. And thank you for watching me today. Thank you very much. John and the Mongo Kua. You guys have a pleasant day today.